Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today I am starting a series of re-reviewing old Attack Wing packs. I took a look at a lot of these packs 7, 8 years ago. 2015, 2016, even 2017. That was the height of me reviewing Attack Wing content. So I'm going to go back through everything. We're going to take a look, see what holds up, what are the thoughts on these ships now in 2023, and we'll go from there. So I think the core set is a great place to start, and I'm going to do all three at once. I know that's not always the best way to go about it, but that's how I'm going to go about it. So the core set, we get the IKS Maht-H'A. This is the Vorcha class. Now, Vorcha is a great space frame. It's a 5-1-5-3, lots of attack dice, decent durability, not much defense. Cloaking, certainly helpful. Klingons getting, crew that are great. A weapon slot, always helpful. Tech, Klingon tech has come a long way. This is good. Great maneuver dial on the Vorcha. We see Klingons very maneuverable these days. So nothing not to like here other than the price. And the Maht-H'A, any ship attacking you at range 1 rolls 1 less attack die. This, well, compared to a generic Vorcha at 22, it's not worth paying 6 more points for. An extra shield, an extra crew slot, and negating a range 1 attack die bonus, it's not worth 6 points. Now, a repriced Vorcha to, say, 24, 25, somewhere in there, yeah, I might consider running the Maht-H'A, but as it stands, it's not where I'm going. Plus, only a forward 90 arc, no rear arc on the Maht-H'A. Sorry, it disappoints. Now, the generic Vorcha, yeah, absolutely. I'll go for this Vorcha any day of the week. Throw 22 points on the table, have 5 attack dice, love it. Can't go wrong with it, and decent variety in slot upgrades. Hard to go wrong. For Romulans, we get the IRW Khazara. This is the Daenerys. If you initiate an attack while cloaked, add 1 extra attack die. This is an ability that I like. I do enjoy this one, and Romulans have a lot more cloaking shenanigans. This is a very nice ability. 3 crew slots, and I think you can make some decent magic happen with Romulan crew. A weapon and a tech, you will be filling those slots up, trust me. But 30 points is the tough sell. The generic's down to 25 from, what was it? 28. So it's kind of a 3-point discount. If this Khazara was also discounted, which I still hold out a little bit of hope for, not a ton, but a little bit. If this was down at like 27, I'd be a happier camper for realistically playing the ship. But as it stands, it is overpriced, and I am not paying a 5-point premium for a crew slot, a shield, and this extra attack die. As nice as the extra attack die is, there are ways of getting said extra attack die. Our generic Daenerys, 3263 double crew weapon tech. It's not a bad ship. It's just there's other Daenerys's that I'd fly, and really, Romulans are about scimitars, Valdors, and their support ships. The Daenerys, it does come down to having a solid named ability. The USS Enterprise D, the Galaxy, this one, very nice ability. Instead of making a normal attack with your primary weapon, you may fire in any direction at range 1 to 2 with 3 attack dice, which is fantastic. The 2 things stand out. 1, lack of a tech slot. How do you get an Enterprise, the named Enterprise, with no tech slot? And 2, it's overpriced. right? Generics are down at 22. This should be, again, at like 20, 25-ish points. It's got to fall back in line with the new named Galaxy ships. And without that, you're paying a very high premium. You're paying 6 points for an extra weapon slot, an extra shield, and the ability to fire 360. And don't get me wrong, 360 is nice. An extra weapon slot on a Fed ship is, again, nice. But it's tough. And Galaxy-class ships are not the best space frame to fly. Their maneuver dial is tough. Forward 90, rear 90, which is helpful, but your only turns are red. It hurts. You do get reverse, but you're going to have a tough time lining up meaningful shots after combat starts, especially with cloakers. That is where the 360 fire comes in. But the Enterprise D just, it doesn't hold up. And it's solely because of points. All right. Captain Picard. Each round you may perform one of the following actions as a free action. Evade, target lock, scan, or battle station. You may use this action even if your ship does not have it in the action bar. It's 9 skill, 6 points with talent slot. This is still a Hallmark captain. Free action Picard is one of the best captains, probably one of the 30 best captains in the game that you always have to consider. Do you want to run this as a captain? He is a gold standard captain. Now, that doesn't mean he is the perfect captain for every fleet, but he is one you do have to highly consider. He's expensive, but you get a lot out of him. Alternatively, you could run William T. Riker, skill 6, 4 points, no talent slot, and an action ability. If you are attacked this round at range 1, roll 2 attack dice. Any hit or crit result damages the attacking ship as normal. Even if your ship is destroyed by their attack, the attacking ship does not roll any defense dice here. If this was a passive ability, it would be fantastic. Well, maybe not fantastic. It would at least be meaningful. The downside here is to take this action at skill 6. You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen at skills above you. I could see this Riker being played in missions, but still, you have to be attacked at range 1. And that itself is so limited. And then you're spending your action to essentially do a counterattack. And even then you're, 75% to do 1 damage back to the ship. Is that worth it? It depends on the status of the ship. If that ship only has 1 hole left, then yeah, this ability is great. But other than that, it's a tough sell. This Riker is very much limited to mission play. Now, that doesn't mean he's bad. He's super thematic for Riker, but not something you're going to see in most fleets. Not something I've ever actually considered, and I realistically forgot that this Riker even existed. Again, that doesn't make him bad. Well, it kind of does. It just makes him very limited in use. Toreth, skill 7 for the Romulans. You're going to pay 4 points. She gets you a talent slot. And when attacking, you can convert a hit into a crit. Nice passive ability. Again, this captain that has a nice ability, not a great ability, just a nice passive ability. Is she going to make all the difference in the world? No, not at all. But she makes a little bit of a difference, and that crit could be a meaningful difference at the end. And every once in a while, that crit's going to be a stunned helmsman, a direct hit, a a warp core breach, something that puts the hurt on an opponent where they go, oh, I didn't like that crit. But there's also some innocuous crits that basically do nothing. Or there's the times where you didn't do anything and her ability is meaningless because the defense rolled enough evades to cancel everything out. That's just going to happen, right? That's the nature of attack dice and just dice in general. And then we get the Klingon captain, Nudok. When attacking, you can convert a battle station result into a hit result. This is at least somewhat meaningful. It's kind of been replaced by Cloaking Wharf, which this is a wharf that says when cloaked, you can convert, I believe it's blanks into hits. And but we also have the Klingon Admiral Gowron, which gives you a battle station and another action if you've got a Klingon captain. Now, Nudok is still passive quality, and I like that. You're going to roll battle stations on your hit dice, your attack dice. Nudok's going to convert one. That's helpful. It means you don't have to spend a target lock as frequently. You're going to put out more offense. This is great. But he doesn't have a talent slot. He's a bit overpriced. He doesn't hold up to where higher, newer captains are these days. He's a nice 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th pick on a captain. If you're running 400, 500 points of Klingons, of course Nudok's going to make it as a captain into your fleet. But short of that, typically not going to be there. All right, generic captains are generic captains. They mean nothing. But then we get some elite talents. We get engage, action. If you performed a green maneuver this round, you may immediately perform an additional green maneuver of your choice. Place an Ox power token beside your ship. And this one's okay. I have used it in mission play. I think it's very useful there, very usable talent there. I don't see it used a lot in competitive play, in any kind of serious play, solely because you're limited to, if you performed a green maneuver this round, then you can do this extra thing, and it takes up your action, and you have an Ox power token. You really have to build around, I need to do a green, then I will have an Ox power token, so do I have abilities that either mitigate that Ox power token or make use of having an Ox power token next to my ship? It's an expensive talent. It's an action. This hurts me. I'm not a personal fan of it. I'm good that the talent exists, and like I said, it's good in mission play. It has a role. If I'm trying to sweep around a planet, I can like one bank and then one bank again, and that's very helpful. Or even one bank, two straight. Different types of moves that are going to get me in a better position to do what I need to do. Romulan talent counterattack. Action: if your ship's shields or hull are damaged by a ship in your forward firing arc this round, you may immediately make one free attack against that ship. You may not make this attack if your ship is destroyed. I like the card. I like the ability. I hate that it says action. I wish this card was just in existence. But it is useful, and I think it's more useful now with the Romulan sensor echo cloaking device card. That lets you use your maneuvering, use your actions to get in a better position, but you still have to have an action to use counterattack. I think it's playable, and I think this card has actually gotten better because of that. Now, the main goal with the Romulan cloaking device is to put yourself in a position where you're not in the forward firing arc of another ship, but sometimes that's completely unavoidable, and you can use this to at least put that ship in your forward firing arc to come back at them with a counterattack, and then maybe another attack, and those two attacks together will do something to chip away. It reminds me a lot of the Amar's ability, which, you take hull damage and then you get to make an attack. it can be a nice bonus. Only difference there, the AMR is passive. Counterattack here is an action. I think you can see a development there. All right. Photon torpedoes have been made better. Don't get me wrong. But there are ways now to get photon torpedoes on for cheaper. We have the dorsal torpedo pod. Don't quote me on the name there, but we have torpedo bays and whatnot. But this photon torpedo is a target lock. Spin your target lock, disable, and you can convert one battle station into a crit, forward or rear arc firing. It's fine. I do like that it's 5 dice, so that can help lower attack dice ships. I hate that it costs 5 points. That's the trade-off. Now, like I said, there's ways to get it for cheaper, and that helps. But we're dependent on those cards now. Antimatter mines, a lot of fun early on, but let's get into it. Attack, discard this card, place a minefield token in your rear firing arc at range 1. If you place this token on a ship, or if a ship enters the minefield, roll 4 attack dice. Any hit or crit damages the ship as normal. The affected ship does not roll any defense dice. So this was a fun sneak attack card, and it... well, it was never truly sneaky because people knew it existed, but it kind of just fell out of favor, and it's mostly because you really only get one shot at it. It's 4 dice, and 4 dice is rarely going to make the difference between killing a ship. Plus, it's your attack. And to give up your attack to roll 4 unmodified dice, it's a rough trade-off. I do love the concept of antimatter mines. I wish we had more ways to drop debris and like scattering fields on the board, even if it was like a scattering field that only lasted for a round. I think that could be fun. This started a good concept, but I don't think it holds up these days. Klingon photon torpedoes, these just more raw dice. They give you an extra die on a Vorcha class, but they're never worth 5 points. And we do see better Klingon torpedoes now. But yeah, these target lock disable for 1 extra die, but they were never an additional range or anything. Yeah, just overpriced right from the start. Now, the Romulans getting plasma torpedoes, these actually helped because Romulans had 3 attack dice, right? Remember the Dideritics, 3 attack dice. Plasma torpedoes let you go up to 5. Now, you spend your target lock, disable a card, reroll all your blank results 1 time. Now, again, this is helpful. It's not everything, but it's helpful. And you can fire it from your forward or rear arcs. Now, rear arcs don't exist on Dideritics. Again, wonder why they ever put rear arc. I think they probably intended to put rear arc on Romulans at some point, and they never did. But, yeah. Plasma torpedoes, I feel like they hold up. This version doesn't necessarily hold up, only because it's been replaced by newer, better versions. But the concept still holds up. All right, Klingon Advanced Weapons System. When attacking, disable this upgrade to keep your cloak token from flipping to its red side. Again, great concept. Cost never held. We see cards like this cheaper, better. Now the Klingon Tractor Beam. Action, target a ship at range 1 and roll 2 attack dice. For every hit result, that ship rolls 1 less defense die against your next attack. That was cool, but it's too limited. Range 1 only, and 2 dice, and 3 points for it. It needed to be more range, more dice, and you were very much telegraphing who you were attacking. Plus, Klingons didn't have the highest of skilled captains, so you were kind of saying who you were attacking and then hoping that they would be in arc when all was said and done. Yeah, this needed to be like a start of planning phase or start of combat phase, and be a passive, but then put like time tokens on it or a disable on it. Again, it's a neat concept. Love the concept. Doesn't hold up. All right. The artificial quantum singularity. While your ship is cloaked, you may roll your full defense dice in spite of the presence of an opposing ship's scan token. Again, that's nice. Does help against all the Vulcan shenanigans that are out there. So this might actually be a mission playable card in, well, I'd say Enterprise era games for sure, because this is, a lot of Vulcan shenanigans at that time and Romulan war type stuff. This is good. I hate that it's limited to you have to be cloaked in order to use it. I wish it was just, you can roll your full defense dice in spite of the presence of an opposing ship's scan token. And I wish it did a tiny bit more for 3 points. It's so limited. They have to scan. And the fact that you have this card makes them less likely to scan. They're just more likely to take a target lock or a battle station. Well, I guess if you're cloaked, they're not going to take a target lock, but they're going to take a battle station. And if they do that, this doesn't help you. Give me an extra defense die. Especially if you're charging me 3 points. Anywho, Geordie. If your ship has a scan token, you can force one ship you attacked this round to re-roll one defense die of your choice. Well, that can be helpful. And I like that it's scan plus. However, for 4 points. 2 points maybe. But not for 4. Yeah. Just overpriced. Conmel. Action. If your ship is not cloaked, you can repair a shield. Again, nice idea. Way too expensive. Repairing shields is great. Klingons don't have many. I'm good with the cloak limitation, not being cloaked. But if you're going to make it an action, which, okay, fine. But again, it's the same action as evade, basically, except it's an action for when you're not getting shot. But Conmel should not cost 4 points. That's too much of an opportunity cost these days. Even in a mission scenario, it's still too expensive. And that's just the point I'm trying to drive home here. All right. Worf. For 3 points, disable this card to reroll your entire attack roll. You must reroll all the dice and keep the results of the second roll. Okay, fine. It's a target lock. It's Tactical Officer from Alliance. And I think Tactical Officer was also 3 points. So it holds up. Worf, still today, except Tactical Officer probably better because it's not named Worf, and thus you're not getting rid of Worf, all versions of Worf. Not a bad card, just not a great card. Data. For an action, you can place 2 evade tokens beside your ship and reduce your total attack dice by 2 this round. You cannot perform an evade action this round, even as a free action. Okay. I have run Data. I found Data to be useful in certain scenarios. Data is great when you are trying to survive and you don't care about offense at all. Data has a place in the Kobayashi Maru scenario because you can't kill the Klingons fast enough. Your only hope is to evade, really, to defend, to stack enough defense dice and be great. So Data has a role. I don't like him. I hate that I'm losing attack dice in exchange for evades. And his action is much worse than just taking a single evade action and still having your full attack dice in most cases. Every once in a while, Data is better. But those rare scenarios are few and far between and definitely not worth 3 points. All right. Miles. For 2 points, see, now we're starting to talk about reasonable disappointing. For an action discard, we can disable any one upgrade on another ship at range 1 to 3, and it may be used against a ship that's cloaked. This I like. I've run this version of Miles. I still like being able to disable an upgrade on another ship at range 1 to 3. It can save your bank in. Now, Miles is a bigger trade-off than most other gank cards, because Miles is an action and a discard. You get one use out of him, and you're spending an action for a disable that they're just going to spend an action to re-enable their card. It would be great if Miles also forced a discard, or if he put a disable on 2 crew, but he doesn't do that. He does what he does, and I think he's playable, but he's much better in certain missions than overall reliable. All right, and wrapping this up, we have Nivek. Action, disable one of your active shields in order to roll +1 attack die this round. It's a risk, but there's time for it, and Romulans certainly can benefit from the help. Downside is you don't get this while you're cloaked, so Nivek on the Khazara was pointless. Well, I guess it was kind of use one while you're not cloaked, use the other ability while you are cloaked. But you want to find a Romulan ship that's not cloaking and use Nivek there. Nivek is... I think Nivek's properly pointed. There's times for him. I definitely find him useful more in missions, but that doesn't make him bad. He's an okay way to get an extra attack die. I don't like he's an action. That's my only trade-off. I wish he was like start of combat phase, choose to disable a shield, or even start of planning phase, choose to disable a shield to get an extra attack die. But he is what he is. All right, and then we get Clegg. Clegg is an action. If your ship is not cloaked, disable all your remaining shields. Target a ship at range 1 to 2 that's not cloaked, has no active shields, and discard Clegg and one crew upgrade of your choice to target ship. And Bokra is basically the same thing for Romulans. So they're both sacrificial. Well, assassins. We'll just call it like they are. They go in there, sacrifice themselves, and take out a crew on another ship. But they're very restricted. But that's kind of okay because they're 1 point. It's okay to be restrictive when they're 1 point cards. These work, and I think they do work well as 1 point cards. They, to get better benefits, not being in action or still being in action, but being able to work through shields or through a cloak, like Miles does, you need more restrictions or a higher point, a discard but not, discarding the other type thing. It works. Yeah. So overall, and I'm going to try to keep this short so the overall video is under a half hour. The pack, I think, holds up a bit. Are you missing anything if you don't have this? I think the only thing you really need out of here is Picard. I think Engage is a nice talent to have. And, I mean, the named ships are nice. But that's kind of it. So, while you need a starter, I don't think you have to go track down the 2013 starter. I know they're out of print. I know they're expensive to get. I needed to start somewhere. Most of this stuff, it doesn't hold up. It's been 10 years, almost. A matter of months, and it's been 10 years. It's okay for this stuff not to hold up overall. But I still think it's a good place. It shows where Attack Wing started from. It's certainly the point that I got into the game. And it's where I started falling in love with it. So, yeah. Stories about that at some point too. All right. Hey, thank you for watching, and let me know, do you enjoy these trips back to the beginning? Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take Take care.